Hey, what's up, guys? I know it's been a while, been a whole year. 2025. New year, new me, right? Last year, I started back reading. I hadn't read seriously probably in maybe 3 or 4 years. And I decided I would start back with something light. I bought a copy of Harry Potter because as a kid, my parents wouldn't let me read it because they said it was witchcraft, which it was. So I ended up finishing Harry Potter at right when the new year started, 2025. It took me a whole year to read a book that when I was a kid, I used to read like 300-page books like a week. It's amazing how far I have fallen from the heights of being a great reader as a child, but that's neither here nor there. So I'll be 27 this year, and I guess that makes me in my late 20s, pushing 30. Anywho, this is a list of a few books that I read in my early 20s that helped me out. Let's get into it. Number 1, Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill, published in 1938 by Napoleon Hill. This book taught me about the importance of honing in on a desire and actually believing that you will obtain it. In short, if you don't believe something, you can't achieve it. Think and Grow Rich is big about visualizing your goals in a way that can help you see it in your mind. If you can't see it in your mind, it's going to be very hard to achieve any goal. There's other stuff in here as well about like transmutation and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that because I am not an expert in that at all. There are other videos on YouTube you can check out that talk about this. So yeah, that's all for Think and Grow Rich. Next, we have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor. And this book, actually, I think it's when he passed away, they found his diary. And this was like a collection of everything he wrote just for himself. I found this book when I was going through a time where I was like dissatisfied with work. And I was like, I'm not like a woe is me mentality, but just like my life isn't quite going the way I wanted to. I think like I ended up getting kicked out of school because my grades were too low. Side note, during the pandemic, my GPA took the deepest dip it has ever taken my whole life. It was just not good at all. And so I was just working at the time and I hadn't got back in school yet. This was like 2022. So I was thinking about how am I stuck in this situation, and this book helped me mentally accept that. This is Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius is one of the fathers of Stoicism. And a lot of the teachings in here, it's not about like a it is what it is mentality. It's just like accepting things in the universe as they come and being able to move on with that. I think there was one passage I found. It was like, let me see, can I find it? Finally, book 5. In the morning when you rise reluctantly, let this thought be present. I am rising to do the work of a human being. Why then am I dissatisfied if I'm going to do the things for which I exist and for which I was brought into the world? Or have I been made for this, to lie in the bedclothes and keep myself warm? But this is more pleasant. Do you exist then to take your pleasure and not at all for action or exertion? Do you not see the little plants, the little birds, the ants, the spiders, the bees working together to put in order their various parts of the universe? And are you unwilling to do the work of a human being? And do you not make haste to do that which is according to your nature? I'm not going to read the full thing, but that quote was it hit me. Like when I read it, I was like, dang, I'm sitting here complaining about work, but are we not made to work? Not to be like one of those guys, but there's something about doing what you're supposed to be doing here in the world that just makes you feel better. And I think when you begrudge going into a job, even if it is just like a temporary situation, like this is not my life's calling, I'm not supposed to work here at this place, there's still like a certain like thankfulness and gratitude to be had in working and having a job and being able to like somewhat provide for yourself, even if it's not something you really know you want to be doing, so yeah. Next, this one, I know you guys have probably seen this one around in book videos. Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results. This book right here was probably one of the most pivotal parts of my life. I found it like into 2023 going into 2024. I ended up getting it from my sister. I traded her for a book and I read it, and it really helped me straighten out things because I ended up getting back into school and I was having trouble like maintaining like life work balance. And when you think about, basically the idea behind the book is like being 1% better each day I think about it like, I think the book says something about like how bamboo takes 7 years to grow, and you plant bamboo for 7 years, it doesn't look like anything's happening, and then one day it sprouts forth. Or how like ice, you know ice doesn't melt, it doesn't start to melt until 33 degrees. 27 degrees is still ice, 28 degrees, 29, 30, 32 is still ice. That 1 degree difference can be the difference between freezing and melting. And in that same way, you can put forth tiny changes, corrections, in order to make sure that your life is heading in the right way. And it really showed me that, like, although you can't plan everything in life, you can definitely, first of all, not planning is planning to fail for sure. And by planning, you're making it easier for you to get ahead in life. If you don't set forth like a routine, getting a routine was very important. The first chapter, the author's talking about how he used to be a baseball player, and he ended up getting injured, and he like lost all his baseball progress. He was a great player, and he had to work his way back all the way up to where he was. And even though he didn't make it to the league, he did end up being able to go to college, baseball scholarship. So Atomic Habits, great read. I need to read it again. I feel like when it comes to reading these kinds of books like self-help, you have to read it multiple times before it really sticks. Because for me, like, I'll read a book and I'll be feeling really good and I'll be stuck, I'll be like going forward with it, and I'll just lose it. I will lose that momentum if I don't read. Like, I have to stay reading. It's kind of like that in anything in life, though, I guess. You don't cut the grass grows taller. And anyway, I'm rambling. Next book. So this one is a odd title, but when you remember it was like written in the 1930s, it makes more sense. How to Win Friends and Influence People. The Only Book You Need to Lead You to Success by Dale Carnegie. So this book, even though it has a title that's maybe a bit off-putting for the year like 2025, it teaches you about soft skills, hard skills that you might need, like in a workplace, in life, like small talk, how to correct somebody without offending them in the workplace, how to be a leader, how to be someone who's underneath somebody, how to be a good follower, a good employee. Basically teaches you all the skills you would need in a work environment, in friendships, relationships, not even just work. Really great book, really great read. I've almost finished. It looks like I have like 20 pages left, maybe. Oh wait, no, I have finished it. Yeah, so great read. I definitely recommend it for somebody like me. Coming out of high school, I was not very talkative. I didn't have like a lot of good social skills, at least not outside of my friend group. It was very hard for me to like connect to people that I didn't already know or hadn't already been introduced to. And so when you're working in a place, just like things like, after reading this book, like I'm working at a restaurant or whatever at the time, and we got a new hire. I had to go out of my way to introduce myself to them first, so that way, I introduce myself to them, show myself to be friendly, get to know them, ask what their hobbies are, stuff they're into, things that you would want somebody who was working that job, to ask you about. Not like crazy personal stuff, but like, stuff that makes you feel welcome in the environment. So yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Title sounds crazy in 2025, but great read. Last but not least, let me lock in. Last but not least, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So The Alchemist it's basically a fictional story written, but it's in the guise of a fictional story, but it's really like a self-help book. And it's the only one of these books I named that's like a fun read. But if you're paying attention, like, the book talks about basically achieving your personal legend, your personal goal. Like, for example, like I think the first chapter of the book talks about, the boy's name is Santiago, and I think he's like a shepherd or something. And there's this guy in this village, and I think he was like a baker or something like that. But he didn't really want to be a baker or whatever it was that he was doing. And it said that he had given up on his personal legend. And when the first time reading that, I thought about like, dang, like everybody knows somebody in their life that they wanted to be something else, and for whatever reason they gave up on it. And it shows like in the way that they are. It's like maybe like the older dad who like never got to live out his sports dreams, so he lives it out through his kids, or maybe like, anything. You see it in life, like people who've just given up. And not that they're always bitter about it, but you can tell like they've given up on their dreams in life, and it shows. It's just like they're not happy to be here. Like, they're alive, but they're not really living, And some people are okay giving up on their life dreams. But yeah, this book definitely like low-key also like a cautionary tale in some parts, because of how you see other characters in the book like give up on their dreams. Like this person gave up, that person gave up. Some people are still living their dreams, but a lot of people in the book, you see that something happened, maybe they found love and they gave up on their dreams, or maybe, you know, they got a good job and they're just like, well, this is what I'm doing now, you know, stuff like that. So personally, this is probably out of all the books I named, the easiest one to read and to get into. This one is one I keep going back to. This is like my second read through, and it's a really great book. You can get probably like $15 This is probably the one I recommend the most if you're new into reading books as an adult, because I know a lot of people, like after elementary school, after high school, you don't have to read anymore, like for AR goals, people just stop, and I don't blame them, honestly. Like social media has taken over a huge part of my life. I know it probably has for other people as well. I recommend this book a lot. Excuse my hair, I took down my braids not too long ago. And yeah, that's it for this video. See y'all next time.